What's going on, y'all? As you can see, we're back. We're finally out of the international break. Let me hop on FOP mode right now. And we got Prem football starting back up this Saturday. There's no Thursday games this week. There is just Saturdays, and we're gonna go down the line and do what we always do and predicting who we think will be winning these games. We got the early game on Saturday. Wolverhampton Wanderers going up against Liverpool. Wolves, as we all know, have kind of been a little bit better than I thought they would be. They have 30 points. They got that win. They've competed. Sorry, my laptop is messing up right now. It came out of its, whatever this is called, case. But Wolverhampton, they are slightly better than I thought they would be. 3-2 loss last to Crystal Palace. But they did hold their own against Crystal Palace. And then Liverpool, obviously, they did their 3-0 victory over Villa last time out. But Liverpool, I think they've figured it out now. I think Liverpool have little to no problems going forward. Darwin Núñez has looked great for them the last couple games. He had 2 goals in the game that they ended up coming back, and then they had an assist last game. Darwin Núñez getting it going, and if they can keep Darwin Núñez going, I think that Liverpool team's going to be a very good team this season. So we will give it to Liverpool. We're going to give them, let's give them a 3-0 victory. Wolverhampton shouldn't be scoring against them. I believe they just lost one of their midfielders to Man City. Transfers, did they lose them? Did they not lose I think his name's like Matthias Nunes or something like that. Man City. I thought he transferred, but it doesn't show up in the transfers. Matthias Nunes. Yep, he should transfer from Wolverhampton. Wonder what that price was there on him. But he went to Man City, so we will be missing him in this game. Liverpool should win 3-0. Villa versus Palace. Villa. I don't know what Villa's doing. I'm going to be honest. Villa right now is sitting 10th. 2 wins, 2 losses. 2 losses. I think they probably should have at least played closer games. Then they lost to Liverpool pretty badly. They lost to Newcastle pretty badly. Those are 2 of the higher up there teams in the Prem. And then Crystal Palace going into this game is sitting 7th with 7 points. Got 2 wins and a tie. So this could be either way. I'm going to go Villa 2-1. We'll go 2-1 victory there. Fulham versus Luton Town. Luton Town have, obviously we know the story with them and their new ground and all that, but they are sitting right now at 19th place, 1 goal from being bottom of the table, with Burnley having -8 and then Luton being down 7. Fulham, they should win this game 2-1, maybe even 2-0, but I'm going to go with Fulham. Manchester United going up against Brighton. Let's be honest. I don't think any of us have been relatively impressed with what Manchester United has done this season. If you're a Man United fan, sitting 11th going into the first international break is not ideal. Obviously, you got 6 points. You do have the 2 wins, but you have 2 losses. You'd like to turn one of those losses maybe into at least a draw. But unfortunately, they weren't able to do that for them. Fortunately for my Arsenal team, they were able to win that game against Man United, but Man United hasn't been looking great. And then you get Brighton, and Brighton's sitting 6th with 9 points, 3 wins and a loss. I'm going to give it to Brighton. I'm going to say that they win 3-2, just like the 3 goals that Manchester United gave up to my Arsenal team. We got Tottenham versus Sheffield United. Let's be honest. Nobody expected Tottenham to come in this hot and heavy They're already got 10 points here in this season. They're sitting second. They're sitting comfortably. They get a Sheffield United team who so far has a singular point with a draw. They're down 3 goals on the season. This is a game that Hotspurs can really ramp it up, get some goals, help their point differential. And I'm going to say 3-0 Tottenham. Get it done, Tottenham Hotspur. Next, we get West Ham versus Man City. This is going to be a good match. I didn't think going into the season this would be a good match. But this is number 1 and number 4. West Ham, obviously, they came out heavy, man. They've came out ready to work this season. They obviously had the draw against Bournemouth, but they got the Chelsea win. They got the Brighton win. They beat Luton. This team's a lot better than I think everybody gave them credit for going into the season. Obviously, losing Declan Rice. But Man City's Man City, and I granted, yeah, you would hope that if at least for the rest of the Premier League, you would hope that West Ham can really give them a show, and really try to make this a match that Man City can't sleep on, because you want Man City to miss out on points because you're not too concerned about West Ham running the table. You're worried about Man City running the table. But I think at the end of the day, while I don't believe Man City's looked great yet this year, they've done enough. They had a good game against Fulham, but outside of that, I wasn't really impressed. Even with their 3-0 win against Burnley, haven't really been that great. They've had moments of weakness. Obviously, without De Bruyne there, they're going to be even more weak. Obviously, he's been off since the first game of the season. But a team like West Ham might be a little bit more able to exploit some of those weaknesses. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be enough. Man City 4-1. They should win this game. Newcastle versus Brentford. Both teams are... Brentford sitting at 8, Newcastle sitting at 14th. Not where we thought they would be. Brentford's kind of around where we thought they'd be, but Newcastle, we thought we'd be higher in the table. We thought, let's be honest, we all thought Newcastle would be fighting for the top 4 yet again. We thought they'd be at least in the top 6. And so far, that hasn't been the case. Brentford, they do have 6 points, but 3 of those are draws against Palace. Then they drew against Newport, but that doesn't mean, obviously, that doesn't matter. They drew against Tottenham, which is a good draw, and then they drew against Bournemouth. So Palace and Bournemouth aren't great draws, really. But you did get the win over Fulham. Then you look at the Newcastle side of things. A loss to Brighton pretty badly, 3-1. Liverpool beat them 2-1. Is that Liverpool? I think that's Liverpool. Yeah, it is. Man City beat them 1-0. And then obviously they had the year off with 5-1 victory and thought everybody was going to be doing great. Newcastle were living their best lives, but unfortunately for Newcastle, they came down to earth a little bit since then. They're 7-7 on the season, only had 2 goals since that first game. Brentford, on the other hand, has 8 goals. This is a tough one. Because I don't think either have been really all that impressive. But Newcastle, if they're gonna bounce back, they need to bounce back this week. I'm gonna give them a 3-2 victory. Sunday we got Bournemouth and Chelsea. Chelsea, shout out to them. Not really, because I'm an Arsenal fan, and you don't really like to see them succeed. But they lost to Forest, obviously, last time out. But obviously, they got Cole Palmer, who is going to be joining the club. They got him, I believe, the day before that Chelsea game, or at least 2 days before that Chelsea game. But they got Cole Palmer on the team now. They added more players to help out their midfield. They're going to be interesting to watch this season. Not really super excited about it. To see them. They picked up a goalie? They picked up a keeper for $17 million from New England, from the MLS side of things. Oh wow. Don't really know if that was needed, but they picked him up. But yeah, they were 1-0 last time out against Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth, very similar team to Forest, I think. It's a team that if you go into it sleeping, it could be a tricky one. But I think ultimately Chelsea should have the firepower, win this game 3-1. Chelsea, you have really no excuse to lose the game. It's just a matter of not whether or not they'll perform. But for the Chelsea's sake, they should perform against Bournemouth. Everton versus Arsenal. Everton versus Arsenal. I really hope that we win this game. This is, like I said, with the Tottenham game. This is the same thing for us. This is a game where you can run up your goal differential. Um, Obviously, last time out, we saw Arsenal. They kind of played an average game for the majority of the game, tied 1-1 with Man United for the majority of it. Got lucky with an offsides there on Garnacho, and then you really exploded there in the late after the extra time in the 90. After 90 minutes, we're up. You had Declan Rice obviously get his goal that gave us the lead, and then you had the breakaway from Gabriel Jesus, who really sealed it off and gave us the 2-point differential there out of that game. But this is a game you should be looking. If you're Arsenal, you should be looking to go hard and heavy. You should be looking for 4, 5 goals even. This is a Everton team that, let's look at them. Everton, let's see where they are at the table. They're 18th. They got 1 point. They're down 6 goals on the season. They scored 2 versus 8. They really haven't. I mean, the best team they've played, I think, is Villa. They lost to Wolverhampton. They lost to Fulham. When Villa played them, they won 4-0. They scored 2 against Sheffield. This is not a team that you should be losing to. This is not a team that should give us a scare. This is not a team that you should go into necessarily sleeping on and think, oh, we can just get this one done and head on to the Champions League next week. I wouldn't sleep on this game. I wouldn't come in underestimating Everton, but at the end of this game, you should win by more than 1 goal. Whether it's 2, 3, 4, you should be hitting goals. You should be winning this game. Everton, I expect a clean sheet from this game. If you're Ramsdale, this might even be the game that we see Raya start. Wouldn't be surprised with Champions League being next week if they go David Raya this game. Because Ramsdale, we kind of have a better idea of what he's going to be for the Champions League versus a game here against Everton. Obviously, this game is what day is this? This is the 17th, and I believe Let me go through our matches. This game's on the 17th, and then we play Wednesday against PSV. I believe at the Emirates. Yeah, we play at the Emirates. But I would imagine Ramsdale starts for that. So if you're really wanting to secure and make sure that Ramsdale's fully good to go, no injuries picked up in this game, I would go with David Raya for this game in goal and just see what happens. I think this is the kind of team right here, though, that you're able to do that and you're able to feel confident in it. You're not really, even if David Raya comes out and he has a stinker of a game, which I don't think is going to happen because we saw how good he was last season at Brentford. I think even if he comes out and doesn't have the game we're expecting, Everton, regardless of our goalkeeping, should still be a team we beat. Even if Raya goes out and gives up 1 or 2 goals, I think we should still score 3 or 4 goals. I still think we should. There is not a single player on that Everton team that should be able to stop anybody in our front attacking part of the starting 11. They can't stop Saka. They can't stop Martinelli. They can't stop Jesus. I don't even know if Jesus is going to start with Champions League being around the corner. I think it might be Nketiah, maybe even Trossard. But regardless, I don't even think that it will matter because they should still get 3 or 4 goals in this game. And I don't really think Everton will have the firepower to even keep up with us if they wanted to, or depending on who's in the goal. I don't think it matters. I really don't. So I'm going to go Arsenal. I'm going to say keep the clean sheet, 4-0. I expect David Raya to potentially be in goal there. And I'm really just saying that because we have Champions League on Wednesday. We got a tough matchup in PSV, and that'll be interesting there. You're going to be seeing this video on Tuesday, so it'll be tomorrow for you. So you're seeing this video on Tuesday. I'm recording it on Monday. After this video, I'm going to record my Champions League video. Both my predictions for Champions League and my predictions for Week 1, specifically in Champions League. But both of those videos will be recorded after this. Champions League video will be out Wednesday, and then Thursday will be the Week 1 of Champions League video, who I think is going to win each game. But Arsenal, they should win. Everton, not somebody that I'm necessarily afraid of, but not somebody I think you should go in underestimating. Because yes, I know they really don't have the firepower to do it, but you come in and you just looking to Champions League football, and you're not really taking this serious. This could be a dangerous game where you get a draw out of it. I don't think you lose the game, but I don't think a draw is impossible if you're looking too far ahead. And I don't think that's the right thing to do if you're Arsenal. Granted, this might be an Emil Smith Rowe debut. We might even get to see Jorginho in the starting 11. I mean, there's a lot of different things that can happen. I also believe that we have another injury concern. Obviously, we got Thomas Partey down. Obviously, we knew about Jurrien Timber. Obviously, we're already weak in the defense there, and it kind of got overshadowed there towards the end of the deadline. How good of a deadline we had because of all the injuries. Um, but I believe Gabriel, and they learned the extent of his injury. Gabriel got injured in his international game for Brazil. Um, it seems as if he was training though with Brazil on Sunday, so that's good. I just am reading the report now. Yeah, but he did pick up a knock late in the game for the Brazilian national team in their game. So it was quite a bit of concern there that we were going to even be weaker than what we anticipated heading into Champions League. But I think Gabriel will be good to go. But that is one thing that I'm very nervous about going into the Champions League. And if you're here to see the Nottingham Forest Burnley prediction, it ain't getting here anytime soon because I'm still talking about us. But it's going to be real nerve wracking going into the Champions League with essentially not much of a reserve defensively. Um, let's go to our squad here. Cedric, obviously, we don't want to play Cedric. I'd rather bring up Ruel Walters than play Cedric. Zinchenko, obviously, he will probably start in Champions League. I don't know if I would start him this week because he does have the potential to pick up injuries. He also did score. I believe he was playing in the midfield for Ukraine against England. He did score, which was pretty impressive. I didn't think I would see the day. Where they'd be running first in the midfield and second off scoring against his teammates that play over in England in Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka. That was pretty cool. Ben White, I'm not concerned about. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Hope he doesn't make me eat my words. But our starting lineup defensively for the Champions League should be something like Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White. Those are probably the four that are going to get their names called for the starting lineup there. But obviously you got Tomiyasu, who can be decent when he's not injured, but has some injury concern history. And then you got Kivior, who is, I mean, he's been decent in small spurts when we've seen him. But if he has to come in and take a starting spot because of his Zinchenko injury, or if Gabriel really has some long-term concerns stemming from this international break where he picked up a knock, I don't think he will. But if something were to happen where Gabriel goes down, or even Saliba goes down, or forbid Ben White go down, if he has to step up into a bigger role, what can Kivior do? I don't know. I don't know what he'll be able to do in the Champions League. And you kind of want to have a little bit more reassurance because once you get, say one guy goes down and maybe it is Kivior or maybe it is Tomiyasu who step up. Now you only got one back. Now you only got one fullback. And I mean, unless the plan is to potentially drop Declan Rice down into center back, potentially. Obviously, Partey, we're not going to see him. Don't know how long it's going to be. I think it's not going to be super long. Yeah, he's supposed to be back by the end of August. Not super long, but that's going to be problematic for us. That's going to be pretty problematic for us. I mean, we could see some youth players get called upon in this Champions League, but we don't have the depth that I think you need to go far in the Champions League. We're lucky that we're in a relatively easy group, but we really have to buckle down defensively try to prioritize the health. So I think really you should, if going into this game against Everton, you need to be concerned about the injury potential there from Zinchenko. I wouldn't start Zinchenko against Everton. I know that it's probably somebody you should start, but if he picks up a knock, then we don't have him in the Champions League. So I say you probably start Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Saliba, and then Ben White. But even if Gabriel comes back and to the Arsenal training grounds and he's still sore or something, I wouldn't even risk it. I would just throw Kivior out there as well, and then have Gabriel come off the bench if needed, if he's healthy. But I wouldn't want to risk it against Everton. It's not worth it. Everton is a team you should beat regardless. I would even look at starting Emile Smith Rowe. I'm being real serious. I would treat this game like it's a cup game. I don't really think they should compete with us. Obviously, you got to come in and play your best game. You got to put your best foot forward. I could see Kai Havertz taking a role on the bench here today, going into this game, because Kai Havertz has struggled to get going so far in Arsenal. Fabio Vieira has been great. He's been phenomenal the last few games for us. Really stepped up into his role. Obviously, we haven't seen much of Trossard this season in the actual season. He How many games has he played this season? He's featured in 4 games. Um, so he actually has featured a decent portion. But yeah, he really hasn't followed his preseason expectations. He looked great in the preseason, but he hasn't really been able to do that just yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts over Jesus. Obviously, Jesus recovering from injury. I know he's back. He was healthy last game. He was playing, but obviously you can still be a little bit cautious there. Reece Nelson's looked good in spurts for us coming off the bench. Nketiah, I think we all can say, has been one of our better players this season so far. He's really shocked us. But I think going into the Champions League, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult going into the Champions League. But the good news is you have a little bit of flexibility here against Everton, that you don't need to run your best team. You can maybe run without Gabriel and Zinchenko there in the defense. You might even be able to give Declan Rice a little bit of a break with Jorginho. I'm not sure if Jorginho will be called upon to start, but I expect him to feature against Everton. Fabio Vieira, I would start him. I would start him over Kai Havertz and let Kai Havertz get into the rhythm before we throw him back in the starting lineup. Emile Smith Rowe is somebody I think should be featured in this game. And then obviously I think we probably should go with Nketiah if the plan is for Jesus to start against PSV next week. But what do I know? What do I know? But that's not why you're here. That's not why you're here. You are here for the final one. Now, you had to listen to my Arsenal rant. Now, you got to listen to, well, it's not going to be long, but it's going to be a prediction. Nottingham Forest versus Burnley. Nottingham Forest wins this game 1-0. Shout out to Matt Turner. Matt Turner, obviously, he got his first clean sheet, but he should be getting his second clean sheet here against Burnley. Not a team that I think will put up much of a fight, to be honest. Burnley hasn't impressed me. I thought they were good week 1, but the more I see Man City play, I think Man City's just not in their mid-season form, really. I think that's some of the concern, but Burnley hasn't really all been that spectacular. I haven't been blown away by anything Burnley's done. They lost 2-5 to Tottenham. They actually did win 1-0 not too long ago against Forest in the FA Cup, but they haven't looked good in league play, really. And I think that Forest will end up winning this one and returning the favor with a 1-0 victory. Thank you all for watching, and you guys will be seeing this tomorrow. Champions League video predictions who will come out will be 2 days away, and then on Thursday you'll be seeing my Champions League predictions. Thank you.